So if I were trying to stick to getting under a certain time, if I wasn't already over my time limit, I don't think I would bother with this hidden safe. I would just throw the special loot in here, lock it, and call it a day. But I have had my heart set since the beginning on some kind of hidden safe here, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I think we may be able to speed this up by looking for a pre-made safe prefab. There's a couple of these here. And if we position it right behind that brush, we might be able to save ourselves a reasonable amount of time. Where is the brush? Oh, it's right there. Okay, so we want the safe to stick through a little bit. Not too much, maybe something like that. And it's not going to line up perfectly with the wood, but we can't care too much about that. And then what we'll do is, let's turn this way, and we will clip the wood so that the safe can be effectively opened. And be recessed into the wall. Okay, now hide that for a minute, delete that. Good, so now it looks like it sticks into the wall. So ungroup. Now this already looks like it comes with some loot. I don't think I want to make that the special loot, but we can leave that in there. I think what we'll do here for the special loot is throw a crown in here. Loot and exotic crown. That's kind of a nice final piece of loot to have to get. It looks special enough. Although if we put that, well, maybe I'll delete that one because that makes the crown look a little bit more special. Put two of these in behind here, just so that there's a little bit more in here, and then we'll grab this key because the safe, I think, is already locked by default. Check that out in a minute. We're going to put this on the chief of the, oops, we're going to put this on the thug leader, on his belt, so that even if you find the safe, you still have to get the key from him. And let's see, we want to get this nice and close to his belt, but not so close that it's clipping into him, which can be awfully fiddly sometimes. I don't really have time to be that fiddly, so I'm just going to do that. Click on him. We have not given these guys special names. Another thing I don't have time for. Click on that, put bind. So now it will attach to him, but one really important thing when you're binding things like that is this thing called bind to joint. And you have to tell it to bind to the hips joint. Otherwise, it will float along with him, but it won't move when his hips move. Also, let's make this a little bit more challenging. From distance 50. Maybe I'll change that for lower difficulty levels if we do a little bit of that. Okay, so, and this is locked? Yes. Can it be picked? I don't want it to be picked. Where's the thing for pickable? Pickable. No, you need the key. Okay, now, this could be the tricky part. We want to create a painting. I was looking at different painting types already. And we need a medium-sized painting that is, oops, that is horizontal. Oh, we just lost the entity window. Entity window, come on back. Okay, so I'll move this just as close as I can get. And then we're going to change this. Oh, wait, first we need a skin. Something suitably gruesome for a thug. I am a fan of Caravaggio. We'll put Caravaggio there. I think that will work. Oops. That will work. Oh, come on. Rotate the right way, will you? There we go. That will work nicely. Now, I think I'm about to get interrupted, so I'm going to take a quick break. Alright, made a bit of a real-life interruption there, but we're back. And I was saying that this painting here is, I think, a good fit for a violent, thug-like character. It seems like the kind of art they might enjoy. But we have to take this painting and turn it into a door. Now, I originally had thought about maybe trying to make this a movable, that the player could actually lift off the wall. But there isn't a movable painting already, and I don't really want to go through the time of creating one. So we will take this and turn it into a door like this. Choose Entity, and then we'll go to Movers. And then, or wait, Doors not in Movers? I always forget where doors are. Oh, it's not Funk Movers, it's Movers. That always trips me up. Doors, and we have a sliding door already, and that's what we want to use. So we are going to take that and then see the properties on it. Now, the first thing I know I want to do is the frob distance. Frob distance. I'm going to lower that because I don't want the player to accidentally highlight it from too far away. I want them to have to get close enough to it, so we'll turn that to 50. We will also look into changing the translate. So at the moment the translate's not set to anything. We want it to change on the Z, which is the last one, and we want it to slide down. So that should be minus, and it's almost player height, I guess. I mean, I guess we could measure. It's okay, so 58, and we want it to go almost that far down to the floor, so let's say 50, and we'll see how that goes. Translate speed, we want to be nice and quick because we want the illusion that the player is quickly lifting it and putting it on the floor. And then we're going to have to change the sounds because we don't want this to make a sound like a door. So sound open, we're going to turn that to silence. And sound close, let's turn that to silence. And then we do want it to make some noise while it's moving, and I don't think sound move is in here. No, it's not. It really should be because it's a useful thing. When you put sound move on a door, it doesn't have to be a translating door, this is any door, it will make that noise, it'll loop that noise for as long as the door is actually moving. So you can put creaks and things like that. Now, okay, I want something that's going to sound like sliding, but not environmental stuff. What about sound effects, movement? Sliding. Those are too big and heavy. No, that's not going to do it. What about just something like this? Yeah, you know what? Just sort of some small generic. Oh, I didn't pick it. Did I not? I thought I picked that sound. Choose sound, skirt rustle, okay. Still didn't pick it. Okay, skirt rustle. I don't know why that happened. Why is it? Oh, it's back for sound close. Okay, I'll get rid of silence there. So sound move. That should do it for the door. And hopefully, because this is so big, it'll capture any frob trace from the player so that they won't be able to hit this with the painting in front. But really, we will have to test that to be sure. Okay, so that is done. Now I need to let me just check what the name of this crown is, because we're going to need this for objectives. Let's give it just a, let's call it boss, booze, boss crown. And when it comes to our objectives, we will need that there. Okay. Let's save it. All right, so I think we may be ready to move on to objectives. I'm not going to bother with any readables. Speed build, can't really afford them. So let's go to prefab. Now there are a few prefabs in here. I did not make these. These are under miscellaneous, although we should really rename them. That's got developer equipment and shop items and start objectives. I think these might come from the old start map that Fidkel made. But we're going to use some of these. Start tools and ammo. Start objectives, equipment. I think this is the one we want. And what this does is it creates a blue room off to the side, and we'll have to ungroup this. And it has in it all the equipment a player could start with. So these are all set to spawn at different difficulty levels. This is easy, hard, difficult, or whatever they happen to be called. So I've decided that I want the player to start with limited equipment in this mission. What is this? Health potions. I don't want them to start with any health potions. Well, let's leave one for easy. So we'll delete these two. And what's this? Breath potion. Don't need any of those. We won't start with those. We can start with lockpicks on everything else. I don't care about that. But these I'm going to delete. The player does not get, well, maybe again on easy we will leave those. But on hard, the player doesn't get any of those. This is a holy water. Don't need any of those. Yes, you can have that equipment. And the arrows on difficult, player is not going to get any arrows at all. They have to find any arrows they're going to use. I think the same thing on hard. Well, or sorry, on medium difficulty, maybe we'll give them 1 or 2 arrows. So here, 2 and 1. And here, on easy, I'm not going to have a shop, so the player can't buy anything. Maybe them 5 and maybe 2. 3 if you take the easiest. Okay, so that's all the starting equipment done. Now this is an objective marker already, and if you go to map objectives, you can see that this comes with some default objectives already set. Get or steal special object. So we're going to edit that. Acquire item, enemy name, and the name is Boss Brown. So now when the player gets that, that objective will trigger. There's 3 loot objectives for the different levels, although we can't fill those out until we find out what the loot total is, and we'll do that in a moment. And then an exit. Oh, sorry, no killing. No killing. Right now set on expert only. Do not kill one entity. We're fine with that. And then the exit condition. So here we're going to have to make a brush called escape zone, ESC-zone. And we'll do that later. But our objectives are already now half done, or more than half done. Okay, objectives. Edit. Now, it says item name. Why does it say that? I could have swore that I changed this. I have this problem with objectives frequently, where I feel like I've changed something and then I go back to it and it's not changed. It happens all the time with conversations too. Okay, now it is. Okay, so let's change it up here. Find and steal Bailey's crown. Favorite crown. Okay, that'll have to do. Find Steel Valley's favorite crown. We'll do the loot things later. We have to go in-game to find out how much loot we have. Let's phrase this slightly differently. The valley with the imminent raid, leave them alive. Don't kill any. Okay, good enough. Okay, so that's done, and get back out the same way you came in when you have the crown. Okay. Okay, so those all changed now, yes. Okay. Save, maybe. Alright, since we have to go into the mission to find out what the total loot is, I thought now is as good a time as any. Definitely approaching the end of the creation of the mission. We just need to finish up the objectives, do the briefing, and set the difficulty levels. And there I might decide to do a few extra things just to show off what can be done with difficulty levels, because I have a feeling that not many people know how to use those. Alright, so let's set target. This is nice, we've got a little bit of action in here. They're actually going to start over here somewhere. It's a pretty rough pipe compared to everything else, but can't worry about that right now. So let's go in. What I want to check are the things that we changed. Let's go to clip monitor 2. So how is our...
I can't wait around for
good. No tap dancing, she's now in the light. That's good. We've got our loot over here. Tempt the player, and you know, you might be able to do it. Not going to be able to get through there, but Joe, you'd have to be awfully good to get in here. I'll be eager to see how well players can do that. Okay. Let's follow this guy. Oh, there's his key.
At least I'll be
See whether he can get upstairs.
Good ale. Chewing on a nice leg of
Oh.
butt.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen sometimes because it's a random
Not like those
thing. Sometimes he's going to walk through there and then change his mind. Oh well. How close do we have to get this key? Not that close. It's perfectly doable. Okay, well, we can't see if he's going to use the stairs. Let's check this out. How's she sitting? Pretty good.
He said it wouldn't take long, and I can't wait around forever.
Getting that's going to be tricky, especially with her right there. In fact, it might be kind of impossible. Well, you might have to just put out the light, I guess. Couldn't you get it from over here? Probably not. Wouldn't be able to reach it. You might be able to open it. Well, that's kind of stuff we'll get through playtesting. Now, let's check this out. So you can walk right up to it. It does not highlight. But if you lean forward, it does. And that's good enough. And then, okay, oops, we didn't, I guess we should have taken his key while we were at it. Where is he now? Oh, good. Oh, jeez. If he does that too often, it's going to start looking kind of annoying.
Have a on a good night.
But it is a 50-50 chance. Okay, so let's check in here, and then we'll irritate these guards and get them to chase us upstairs. Good, and... objective complete and objective complete. I guess that was our loot objective. Okay, so let's get no target off. And see whether they can go up these stairs. Yo, ugly. Yeah, you.
You're dog meat.
Am I?
Yeah. Is that all you've got?
That's you're doing it
Sure
now.
looking like I'm dog meat. Okay, no problem getting down. What about getting up? Oh, pretty good. Oh shoot, we forgot
Those
those.
are nice boots.
I love that one. Okay, can we do it after? Oh no, we can't do it because we already picked up some loot. Okay, we're gonna have to restart the mission. It only tells you how much loot is left. So TDM show loot. Okay, so we've got. I guess those get added together. So 1925 is the total loot. That would be my guess. Alrighty, now we can exit. Alright, one of the things that we noticed in that test was the way the boss would suddenly spin on his heel and turn around, and I realized why that is. We don't actually want these two nodes to be connected to each other. When he reaches here, he's come from this way, gets here, we want him to then decide whether he's going to go this direction. But if we put a decision on here, then what can happen is when he comes to this node this way, he stops and turns around. I think if we do this instead, we take this path node and we connect it to where he goes after there, which is way over here. Gonna hide those roof pieces of there. There. So when he gets here, he's deciding whether to go this way or whether to just continue on. And we don't want him to go to path corner 13 from here. So let's delete that one. Same thing here. When he reaches this point, when he walks here, we want him to decide whether he's going to turn around and walk all the way back there. Is that really what he does? I guess that's what he does. Or continue on here. Well, okay, then we'll do the same thing. So when he gets here, he either turns around and goes all the way back, or he goes to this one. And whatever node this is, that's path corner 10. We'll take 10 off of here. Oh, shoot. Not that. This. And that should eliminate some of the backtracking, although he's going to backtrack here. There's not too much I can do about that. Maybe put a path weight on there later. Okay, so we got our loot total, so let's go in and adjust our objectives. I usually don't like to put mandatory loot objectives, but I think here it's fair since there's not a whole lot else going on. So let's edit on easy, and on easy we will say that you have to get, these will require a little bit of testing actually. I think 1,000 should be pretty safe. Oh, and we should also get at least 1,000 worth of loot. Okay. On expert, we will say get at least, well, let's say, okay, the 2 plates in there are going to be worth about 100 each. So you could miss those and still get maybe 1,500. Is that fair? Let's try that. Worth of loot. And change this to 1500. And we'll put this right smack in the middle. Get at least 1250 GP of loot. And then during playtesting we can find out whether that's too easy or not. Okay, save. So that is objectives done. Alright, we are picking back up where we left off. And I noticed while I was watching the video from the last build session that when we were getting our starting equipment ready, I did not change the inventory count, which for some reason begins at a ridiculous level of 10. I really only want the player to have one of each of these. So we will quickly fix that. One thing that we were going to do next is set up our viz portals. So we did set up viz portals at the doors of these areas, but we need more than that. We need to block off areas to control the flow of sound and also to increase performance. So when we are setting up viz portals, it makes sense to hide all the entities, because entities do not create viz leafs, and so you kind of want them out of the way so they don't cause a distraction. So you can see we've only got 2 portals here, and in fact this one I don't think is going to be sealed because it looks like, oh no, maybe it is. Oh no, I see that what we did there. I think we moved this wall at one point, and because we moved it, that viz portal is now sticking out, which means it will not seal. So let's move that in so we can fix that one right away. Now that's something that would show up in our internal leak test, which I will be doing shortly. But let's put a few things in here. Now actually, just for reference, I'm going to put these back on, because one place where I want a bit of a choke point is in between these 2 pillars here. We don't want sound coming through these. The player's in the corner here, we don't want them to hear what's on the other corner as if it were right beside them. And that's what will happen if we don't put some kind of brush or viz portal here. So we are going to do that, and I just want this here for reference so that I make sure we can't see the brush through the wall, and we cannot, which is good. So I'm going to then just make sure this goes far enough back, it doesn't matter if it clips, and I'm going to clone it, move it over here, because if it doesn't show through the walls there, it won't show through the walls here. Alright, now is there anywhere else in particular? No, I think we're okay. So let's now turn these entities off. Okay, so now we can see, where is it? There we go. I guess we better give these a texture of some kind. Oh, is that why we couldn't see them? Because they don't have a texture? No, we would have been able to see the brush through the models. Now, at the moment, they don't go all the way to the ceiling, which is a problem. They're not going to seal very well if they don't. And in between, in fact, I think what we'll do is copy this, drag it over here so that it touches, and then drag it over here, and then we will turn this into a viz portal. Okay, so there is one. Now, I don't know how many of these we need, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to put another one over here, right before the door. So the door is there, so let's move it so it's below the door. And we will stretch this so it goes all the way across. I find, oh, careful what you select. We also had a ceiling selected, which I don't want. Did that get moved? No. Okay, so we'll slide this all the way over to the wall and even bury it in for good measure, and all the way over to this wall. Now this viz portal will never close because well, it won't close when the player is in the warehouse because it's too big. But I've found that putting these viz portals in can still aid performance quite a bit. In fact, this does not have to go over this far. It only has to go to this wall, not to the other wall. So I'm going to clone that, and I'm going to move the same thing down here and position it just before this door. Good. Okay, that should be fine. Again, we'll test those with the internal leaks. So we have one now in these small little rooms here. I'm going to put one that is in between these doors. So we're going to go from here over to this wall here. What? Man, every time now and again my mouse jumps and does weird things like that. That should be good. Oh, again, it's not big enough. Oh yeah, it's got to go all the way to the top of the brushwork, remember. So even though the roof is not very big, it's got to be enough that it gets to the top of the brush. And anything that we do here that doesn't work, again, we will find out when we are doing our leak test. So we have viz portals here. I'm going to put some at the top and the bottom of the stairs because, again, I want sound to travel correctly there. So let's click that, and we will go like that. Why? I clicked... Oh, that's because it's a little piece. Alright. We need to go up to hit the floor. And again, make this portal. We'll do the same thing down here. In fact, we can just grab this, clone it, move it down here, and make sure it touches. Good, it does. And then we will need to do the same thing up the top here. So let's do one right across. These are all cut. Let's do one right across here. And I'm not quite sure it's high enough, it's low enough. Okay, make viz portal. And we will again clone and slide this one down to about here. Make sure it's not touching the door. Good. Okay, so those should work, and those should control our sound a little bit better. So the sound will hit this viz portal and go directly down to the one down there, which may or may not sound totally believable. Ideally, I'd put a horizontal viz portal over this space here, but we'll test it out first and see how sound travels. I'll only fix it if it is a problem. I think we're fine in here, even if this is open. I think really that's it. We've designed this well enough that I don't think we need much more in the way of viz portals. If we run into problems, we will find that out during testing. Okay, so seeing as we're already over our 4-hour limit, I've decided I'm going to do something here that is going to add some extra time that isn't necessary for the map. We could have the player just start right outside this grate, and the mission would work just as well. But when I first designed this module set, I made a prefab of a grate you can actually open. And I've been dying to use it, and this seems like as good a time as any. So we're going to go to the architectural modules and interiors, and we'll go to the great door passage, and then I'm going to hide everything else and move this so that it lines up with the one that's already there. I'm going to have to go down to a smaller grid size to line it up exactly. Oh, and also bring it down to where it's supposed to be. And I think if we pull it down right over top, we can still select the original and delete it. So now we have something. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Any chance we can just rotate it and it'll still fit? Oh, good. Okay, so there's the one that has the grate. We want that to be there, and those still line up. Excellent. Okay, so this is a working grate. So this is an openable door that the player can get into. Let's ungroup it. And they can slide that up. And this comes with a little passageway, little vent the player can crawl through. So we want to cut through our ceiling world spawn here. So let's turn that off, go to the clipper tool, and we'll make a fairly large opening here, just so that we can visportal this as well. I think we can do that. And then we'll delete what's in the center. And then if we take, let's see how this will work here. If we take these ceiling walls and extend them out, and then, oh wait, we don't want to extend them out that far. Okay, select again, and let's see where the other end of the wall is. So unhide. Okay, we want to click and drag this out just so that it goes up to about there, right? Yeah, so it can't be seen through the wall. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of Z-fighting there to deal with, but that's okay. Okay, and then what we'll do is we will take a box, drag it out about this far, and make sure it is textured. It's the same height as that, the same bottom as that. So really, if we hollow this and then come in here and delete this, everything else should line up, and these should all be, yep, this should be self-contained and sealed. So now let's take this, we will raise this up to the bottom of the grate, or the bottom of the wall rather, and then we'll just copy and paste a couple wall sections from here, and we'll keep this fairly narrow, and maybe do this and this, as if the player has kind of crawled through some kind of venting system or something like that. And then we'll just clone one of these, put it here, and make it a different model so the player can think that they've come through that grate. There. Okay, so they imagine they've come out from there and they're going in through there. So this will be where our player start is, just to make the entrance a little bit more interesting. We'll grab this texture way up here and bring that down. We'll keep it fairly low. And I'm not even going to really worry too much about what it looks like, because there won't be any light in here, so the player will not be able to see anything. Let's move the player start here. I just want to make sure that, oh, why did that happen? Don't click the player start, move it down, and we just want to make sure that it's got room to fit without clipping. There. Okay, and let's turn it so that the player is facing the correct direction to begin with. We'll put them here. Good. Now, the player will sort, oh, there was Z fighting here we had to deal with, right? So there's that. Let's just do it like this. I don't think this... What am I doing? I don't think this floor actually seals anything, so we don't have to be too careful with it, but I would like to get that and clip on that, and we'll just move that out of the way until it's no longer doing anything that will Z-fight. Okay, good. Alright, now we had set up an objective for the player to get out the way that they came in, and that's going to be through this vent. So we're going to use the exit location prefab here that's already made, and this is an entity. Why can I not move it? Oh. Okay. Occasionally I have that problem with Dark Radiant. I can't grab things. We're going to move this over here, just make sure that it encompasses where the player needs to get to. And this comes preset with the name, same name as the prefab of the objectives, the escape zone, and this is used to indicate the location the player must return to. So we will leave that there, and it should mean that the player can trigger the end of the map as soon as they get back into this area. So we'll save there. Now, in this new room, we probably need a viz portal, actually. Hide all the entities. Yeah, we'll need a viz portal. In fact, I want to hide this stuff because I don't want that to necessarily seal anything. That does seal stuff. Okay, so we'll put a viz portal right in the middle there. I don't want to put it where the door touches because I don't want it to close and have the player unable to see anything through the grate in the door. So I'm going to put it back from the door a little bit, and I'll make it, whoa, it does not need to be that tall, and I'll bring it up a little bit and make viz portal. Now this would be a good candidate for putting a I think it's called a funk portal, where you would then put a spawn arg on it, it's a mouthful, to dampen the sound, to increase the sound loss as sound comes through this portal, because it's so thin, or so small an opening. It should really block some sound as it comes through there. But since this is the starting area, and the player isn't going to hear any AI or anything else out there, I think I'm just going to leave it and see what happens. Again, if it's a problem, we'll fix it after testing. Okay, oh, alright, I was looking at my list of things to do, and one last thing. I wanted to add one more objective. On Expert, I want to add an objective that will tell the player not to KO AI, because I think it'll be too easy if they can just go through the whole map knocking everyone out. Oops, no caps lock. Don't knock out more than 2 people. I feel like that's awfully straightforward, but I can't think of any better way to phrase it at the moment. Okay, so difficulty. It's not on all levels, it's only going to be on Expert. It is going to be ongoing. Irreversible isn't really, that can't actually do anything. And let's add AI is knocked out. We want it do not knock out. Player is responsible, although I don't know if there's any other way for AI to get knocked out here. And overall amount 2. I think that should work. So you're allowed to, oh no, it says more than 2. Okay, so 3. So 2 should be okay. 3 should cause a problem. And we want that one to be, isn't there a way to move it up. I want that to be, I want this to be the last one. I feel like there should be a way to move these up and down. Am I thinking of an older version of Dark Radiant? Doesn't really make sense to have that on the very last one. This should be the one that's very last. Okay, well, that might be something we have to fix during testing. I thought there used to, or am I thinking of the conversation editor? Didn't there used to be arrows that would move this up and down? Oh well, maybe somebody can help me out with that. Okay, so we'll leave it that way for now, even though it's not in the order that I want. And I think we are now ready to do the two... Oh, no we're not. There was one other thing on my list. One other little thing that's going to add some time that doesn't have to be done, but hey, I'm over the limit, so why the heck not? I had also made a prefab of an industrial door that I really wanted to use somewhere. And so this seems like as good a place as any to use it. So we'll put it here. The reason I thought it'd be good to use it here is because it will block off the player from getting spotted just as they're entering the area, so they still are just getting their bearings here. And so the door is sort of a nice way to protect them from getting spotted while they're still trying to figure out what's going on. Now, I just want to check and make sure. Okay, the Viz portal is inside the door. Good. Okay, so that should work out fine. Alright, so we'll save that. So now we're down to the very last things. We are going to do a few things with difficulty levels, and we're going to do that internal leak test I keep talking about. But I want to check the length of this video to decide whether to include that in this video or to make a separate video for those things.